Okay, so I just wanted to just comment a little bit as we're as we're all coming onto the screen here. But it's just been crazy in our department. I mean, there's still things to wrap up, loose ends, believe it or not. We're getting ready for course selection. Of course, you all know we're getting ready for family college meetings, and then I'm getting ready for my webinar here, and my computer sound goes out, my links stop working. I was beside myself and ready to throw in the towel, and I just want to just acknowledge right up front that Kevin Broy from ITMC is here running the entire show. So all I need to do is talk to you, and I just can't say thank you. So I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you just wanted to throw in the towel, and he showed up as my knight in shining armor. So, and I know how it is. You know, you work a long day and you want to go home. But thank you, Kevin. All right. You know, I am going to ask you too. I can't usually when I admit people, I notice how many people we have in attendance. So, as you're admitting people, I'm probably just going to want to know the maximum number of people that we have in our audience tonight. So, all right, well, I'm going to get started. And I just want to say welcome. Thank you all for coming. My name is Sue Spielda, and on behalf of the IMSA CAC team, I thank you for joining me for our presentation, How to Choose a College You Can Afford. As you begin the college selection process at your family college meeting, you will learn how a student is evaluated for college admission and how a student should evaluate a college to determine if he or she should apply. So I'm going to stay on the first screen, okay? You will receive a list of CAC recommended colleges and be prepared to continue through the search and application process. By April 1st of 2022, you will receive an admission decision, and by May 1st, you will choose a college. For some, April is a month of excitement, while for others, there is distress. Not necessarily because of a college rejection, but due to receiving a financial aid package that makes that one college unaffordable. As CACs, we know it is essential for you to evaluate college costs up front. It is important to know how much you may be expected to pay, what you're willing to pay, and how your costs will be met. In addition to making these important financial assessments, it is crucial to discuss the numbers before your student applies to assure that expectations align. This webinar, along with your upcoming family college meeting with your CAC, will provide tools for smart financial planning so that applications will be submitted to colleges that parents and students can afford, and decision time will be exciting. Okay, so now we're going to move on. Okay, every year, College Board publishes a document that shows the trends in pricing. Prices have increased significantly over the years, and you are welcome to click on this link posted here if you're interested, because it's a lot of numbers and stats. The important thing to remember, though, is it is not necessarily the published sticker price that a student is expected to pay, but the net price after taking financial aid into consideration. When you consider different students can pay different prices at the same institution, depending on financial circumstances, academic qualifications, athletic ability, or other circumstances and characteristics, the search to determine affordability becomes complex. Okay, next slide. All right, the College Board publishes the sticker price. The sticker price includes tuition, fees, and room and board, and these charges can vary. For example, Tuition is based on a full or part-time student status and could increase for enrolling in credits beyond what is considered full-time or vary based on enrolling in a particular program or major. Fees can be assessed to cover costs such as athletic events, concerts, lectures, and fitness centers so that your student can participate for a reduced price or no additional charge. Room and board can vary based on the living arrangements or meal plans selected. Okay, next slide. There are additional costs you will pay to attend. Tuition, fees, and room and board, as well as any other additional costs, are considered your cost of attendance. These additional costs are wide-ranging, but are just as real. Okay, next slide. These are examples of additional costs. Costs for books and supplies can vary based on where these are purchased, such as the campus bookstore or online, the condition in which they're purchased, new or used, and whether you purchase or rent. Also, costs can vary based on the books and supplies required. For example, costs could be higher for textbooks and supplies needed in science courses versus humanities courses. Personal expenses can vary based on available campus services and personal lifestyle. Services such as laundry or printing could be included in your student fees or be an additional expense. Will your students spend time on campus or will be out on the town? Depending on the location of campus, consider whether being out on the town will be at small town or big city prices. Determine what the transportation costs will be on and around campus, as well as the cost to travel to and from home. Other costs can include anything from using the college health clinic, purchasing required computer programs, joining a sorority or fraternity, or even decorating your dorm room. Okay, next. Now that you know more about the sticker price and cost of attendance, it is important to determine your net cost or what a college might expect you to pay. To do so, you need to know your estimated family contribution, or EFC. There are two formulas for determining your EFC. The federal methodology uses information entered on the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, and is used to award federal, state, and institutional aid. Institutional methodology uses information from College Board's CSS profile and is used by some colleges to award additional institutional aid. If you want to be considered for financial assistance, you must complete the FAFSA. Many colleges, usually the more expensive, highly selective schools that meet 100% of demonstrated need, will require you to complete both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. So I would just like to point out the links here. We might not click on them. The first link, if you see right in the center there, it says FAFSA 4C, and that is a Fafsa Forecaster. We can click on it. We'll see how this works to go back and forth. All right, so you'll see the Fafsa Forecaster, and basically this is a program that you can get an estimate of your estimated family contribution without completing the FAFSA. So you can just click along through this program and it will give you your EFC. All right, the next link on that slide, it's studentaid.gov, and it gives tons of information. If you scroll down a little bit, okay, and you stop right there, there's a bunch of links on the right. It says, find one of those should be for the FAFSA. Find FAFSA. But this is another way for you to be able to get to the FAFSA to complete it. Okay, and then the third link. All right, this link, if you scroll down just a little bit, All right, there's one that says off to the left-hand column. All right, stop. And it says EFC Calculator. All right, so if you read, this is all about the EFC Calculator and explains that there's two EFCs that you can get, one from the FAFSA and one from the CSS profile. So can you turn the page on the link then? Okay, so this page will explain to you, you have an independent student, so you probably won't change any of these questions, but then go to the next page. Beautiful. Okay, scroll a little bit. All right, now over here, they're going to ask you, what method do you want to use to calculate your EFC? And so we already talked about there's a federal method and an institutional method. So the federal method is the FAFSA, and the institutional method is the CSS profile. So this is another way for you to calculate what your EFC might be using the FAFSA and using the CSS profile. So that's that would be helpful on this Big Future College Board link on my slide. Okay, so we can go to the next slide then. All right. These are factors considered in calculating your EFC through the FAFSA. FAFSA allows a certain level of parental assets to be protected based on the age of the oldest parent and whether your family is a 1 or 2 parent family. The asset protection allowance is subtracted from reportable assets. Then 12% of the remaining amount is considered in calculating your EFC. For dependent students, there is no asset protection and 20% of the assets are considered in calculating your EFC. Based on your personal circumstances, you might consider putting student assets in the parent's name, reducing your assets by paying off debt, and or shifting assets into a retirement account. Retirement savings, the value of your home, and debt are not considered in calculating your EFC. The FAFSA you will file in the fall of 2021 will be based on your income from the 2020 tax year, and your assets will be valued on the date you actually file the FAFSA. Factors considered in calculating the EFC through the CSS profile are more in-depth and all-encompassing. Okay, next slide. You may be surprised by your EFC, and you will likely find that your EFC is greater when the CSS profile is used. The EFC is the family's share of college costs and is not always an amount that families believe they can easily or realistically pay out of 1 year's income. Basically, your EFC is an index of what is decided through federal and institutional methodology that a family can absorb into their budget. The college will use the EFC to determine family need for financial aid by subtracting the EFC from the total cost of attendance. This is called demonstrated need. This is a good time to review your financial situation to determine what you can afford and how much you are willing to pay and how you will meet your costs. All right, next slide. All right, when evaluating your situation, do not be blindsided by the following statements. First, families with high income or assets should not bother to file a FAFSA. Don't eliminate yourself from potential opportunity. Let the college determine if your student is eligible for any discount off the sticker price. Even if you do not qualify for free money, which is grants and scholarships, you may be eligible for student loans or federal work study, which are nice options to have. Furthermore, some colleges may consider your EFC when awarding merit aid. Second, families should expect to pay their estimated family contribution. The EFC is an estimate and not necessarily the amount you will pay. Some colleges guarantee to meet 100% of demonstrated need, while others will gap, meaning they do not meet full need. Keep in mind that some of the colleges that do not meet full need are more generous with merit money. Third, all financial need will be met through grants and scholarships. Grants and scholarships are essentially free awards since you do not need to pay these back. However, colleges often include student and parent loans and work study in a financial aid package. Loans must be paid back and work study money must be earned. Fourth, student loans are an unrealistic option. Subsidized and unsubsidized direct student loans are not a bad deal. The student is eligible to borrow a limited amount of funds in his or her own name, giving the student the opportunity to take ownership of a small portion of his or her educational costs and begin to build credit. For subsidized loans, the federal government pays or subsidizes the interest until the student graduates and begins to make payments. Okay, next page. All right. It is not true that you must pay the highest cost for the best college. A 2014 Gallup poll found that factors such as selectivity had less impact on graduates' well-being and subsequent work lives than the actual experiences they had while in school. The best college for your student is not necessarily the most expensive or highest ranked school, but rather where he or she will have the best college experience. So this link, it's the study. Let's not click on this one. This is the study. Oh, there it is. But it's a study and it's going to tell you how they came up with it. And the bottom line is it's the experience that you have. So finding an affordable college or university is very possible. So now that we've discussed cost of attendance and EFC, busted some college myths, let's look at some college options to see. All right, these colleges have a hefty cost of attendance, but they also meet 100% of demonstrated need. So let's see if that makes these affordable for you. First, take a look at your EFC. All of these institutions use the CSS profile to calculate need, and as you recall, the EFC is typically higher through the CSS calculations. Now look at the cost to attend for Caltech, which is $77,718,000 for the school year 2021. If your EFC is $40,000, you will pay $40,000 towards your cost of attendance, and Caltech will meet your demonstrated need of $37,718. So, can you afford and are you willing to pay that $40,000? Keep in mind that colleges that meet full demonstrated need do not often focus on merit scholarships. All right, the figures next to each college are the number of admitted IMSA students out of the total number of applicants from 2017 through 2020. IMSA students are among the best in Illinois, and the competitive colleges listed here are also choosing from the best nationally and internationally. All of these colleges have very selective admissions, so ask yourself, will my student be admitted? Our recommendation is to know your EFC, understand the pool of applicants with whom your student is competing, and consider these colleges judiciously. In light of these costs and acceptance rates, let's look at some other options. All right, next slide. All right, many less selective private colleges and universities charge a lower tuition than the highly selective schools previously mentioned. At these colleges and universities, financial packaging can vary more by offering both need and merit-based scholarships. Scholarships could be awarded for athletics, music, test scores, particular majors, community service, just to name a few. Scholarships could be automatically awarded based on a student's college application, while others require an additional application. Some are automatically awarded to every student that qualifies, while others are offered on a competitive basis. Many students consider a variety of private colleges and universities because the aid offered on a need and or a merit basis can make these a more affordable option, and still the colleges meet their expectations for a quality education. The Flagship State University is considered the premier public school of its state. Every state has a flagship university, and some have more than one. Our Illinois flagship is the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Non-flagship public universities have less competitive admission rates and lower costs than their flagship counterparts, and this does not mean the quality of education is less. Many students consider in-state public universities since the in-state tuition charge can make these a more affordable option. Out-of-state universities can be viewed as an appealing option, although some can be more selective, charge a higher out-of-state tuition, and offer fewer scholarships, while other out-of-state universities, wanting to attract out-of-state students, will offer more attractive aid. In a few states, an out-of-state student can establish or transfer residency and eventually pay in-state tuition. Some IMSA families consider community colleges since these options can make the overall cost of college more affordable. Research college in each category for possible consideration to create a solid college list that is right for you. Okay, for your information, here are the 2019-2020 costs for the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. The UIUC in-state tuition rates are among the highest in the country and are the highest of the 12 Illinois state universities. Since this is an Illinois public school option, the CAC office strongly encourages every student to apply to UIUC or any of the other Illinois state universities to use as a baseline for comparing all college options for costs. You may be eligible for the UIUC Illinois Promise program, created to ensure the affordability of higher education for low-income families. Through Promise, tuition, fees, room and board, books and school supplies are covered through grants and scholarships. There is a link at the end of our presentation for more information. Okay, next. The best tool for estimating the affordability at any college will be that college's own net price calculator. A net price calculator gives you a personalized estimate of the net price you may be expected to pay and could include potential scholarship in addition to considering demonstrated need. Every college has its own net price calculator, so make sure you complete it for each college before that college is added to your student's college list. So the link on this page is a quick and easy way to get to every single school's net price calculator using this College Board. So, okay, so Kevin, you already clicked on it. So move up a little bit. Oh, okay. In the upper right-hand corner, it says search. Ooh. You know what? Go back to my slide. Okay, and click on the collegeboard.org. All right, just go up there and then search, put IIT, for example, IIT. Okay, then click on that. And then click on the Illinois, click on the blue link. All right, so now if you scroll down just a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit more. Okay, stop. And it says calculate your net price, and click on that. All right, so this is Illinois Institute of Technology's actual net price calculator. So I hope you caught that, but if you click on Big Future College Board and go into the upper right-hand corner and type in the name of any school, information on that school will come up, and there's all kinds of great things to look at. And then if you scroll down about halfway down the page and click on that link, you can get to every single college's net price calculator. All right, so as you play with this, note that each college has a different kind of calculator, pretty much of their own design. So the net price calculator is only intended to provide an estimate, and some may be more accurate than others. So don't hesitate to ask a college representative, how reliable are your families finding the net price calculator to be? Okay. All right, so we talked about cost of attendance, EFC, college options, net price calculators. Now, let's talk about what you can or are willing to pay. All right, many parents place a high value on education, but not every family can afford to spend the same amount. Even if your EFC is the same as another family, you may owe a sizable mortgage, have car payments, or be paying on your own student loans. You may have different financial commitments, like catching up on funding retirement accounts, caring for extended family, or saving for younger children's college expenses. Some may only even have a single income to consider. Regardless of your EFC, honestly evaluate what you can afford and what you are willing to pay early in the process, then consider the following. Okay, turn. Okay. When planning for college tuition payments, some families arrange to fit tuition payments into their monthly cash flow because money will be available for mortgage, car, or older sibling tuition payments that are about to end. If you make monthly payments into savings accounts for college or some other purpose, consider making these payments directly towards your new tuition bill. Make a plan for how you will disperse funds you already have in savings or that you expect to receive from other sources, especially if there are younger siblings. Determine what you expect your student to contribute. Determine if you are eligible for either of 2 tax credits up to $2,500 per student. All right, this is the IRS. Let's click on this link. You can click on this link. So this is just a cover sheet, and it explains the American Opportunity Tax Credit and the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit. And if you go all the way to the bottom, it says education credits on the IRS. There's more information about each of those. Okay, so you might be eligible. All right. Now, special circumstances such as reduced or lost income and excessive medical bills can be factored into your demonstrated need by a college, while debt is not. You may not want your student to know the detailed nature of your finances. However, make sure your student knows your willingness or ability to meet his or her costs. Okay, next. All right, make sure your student knows that you plan to file a FAFSA. Educate yourself on student and parent loans. Know how much you can borrow and decide in advance whether this will be a factor in making college affordable for you. All right, the link on this slide can help you decide how much debt is reasonable for your student. So, okay, scroll a little bit down. All right, so there's 2 debt wizards there, and one says how much can I afford to borrow based on a certain salary, And the other one says, how much salary do I need to make in order to pay off my student loan? So there's a lot of these out there, but I think it's really an interesting eye opener to check something like this out. All right, next. All right, know your EFC is calculated by the FAFSA and the CSS profile. Estimate what your student's additional expenses might be. Have a discussion with your student comparing your expectations for his or her college experience in relation to costs. Have a reasonable estimate of what your potential tuition bill will be at every college on your student's list by using the school's net price calculator. Okay, next. All right, come to an agreement with your student about what is important. For example, know if being debt-free upon graduation is more or less valued than having a particular experience or brand name college on your diploma. Establish just how much a particular college experience is worth in terms of costs, and if the student's earning potential justifies a higher level of debt. The best way to choose a college you can afford is to understand that there are many quality colleges and universities to consider, and numerous paths through which your student can earn a college degree and move on to a successful career. Be open to the many college options available. Understand what you may be expected to pay, and have an honest conversation with your student about what your family is willing and able to pay. All right, next. All right, so the first link on here we already clicked on in on an earlier slide, and that was the one where you can get to the FAFSA. The second slide here will take you to information about the UIUC Promise Program. Okay, and then the third link, I'm going to click on this one for sure. Now, this is the Illinois version of a lot of these federal programs. And my favorite thing about this, okay, it's the Illinois Student Assistance Commission. And my favorite thing about this, if you scroll down just a little bit further, all right, and it says right there, it says contact the ISAC core member in your area. On the right there you go. Beautiful. So then scroll just a tiny little bit. All right, over there you put the zip code. Now I often put in the IMSA zip code, so 60506. 60506. Well, yeah, that might work. All right, well, this is another, oh, okay, this is Morton. Okay, so basically, these people are there to answer questions, and their phone numbers are there, and I promise you, I have called them, they answer the phone. So this is a great resource to have for questions about the FAFSA or just college affordability. All right, next slide. All right, so just so you know, this is one in a series of CAC sponsored webinars. The exact dates and times of future ones will be announced through Naviance Student. And if you would like to review this presentation again, it will be posted on the CAC link of the IMSA website in the next few days, thanks to Kevin. So look for it. And then the next slide is our last slide. And I am happy to take questions now. And if I